It's something interesting, unique. Yeah, that's me. That's like amazing accessory.
Examples of tattooing equipment date back as far as the Upper Paleolithic period, around 40,000 years ago. Once symbols of great spiritual power, used to physically represent a relationship to deities worshipped in tribal cultures and later religions. But where do tattoos stand today, in the 21st century? With the trend of getting tattoos as individual fashion statements on the rise, it raises the question of whether the stigma attached to them will disappear altogether, or if history will later repeat itself down the line and tattoos will once again have a level of exclusivity.
It's not so much what the image is, it's how you were at the time and how you felt and what your emotions were. It's a lasting thing. Every time you look at it, you remember, actually, I remember I was 17, I was doing this at the time, and you can remember everything. It's a bit of a nostalgia sort of trigger. Yeah, the company I work for the company that owns the airport, Heathrow Airport, and they're a little bit more lax now than they were before. They used to be very stern and not really, if you have tattoos, they need to be invisible, and if they are visible, you need to cover them up. I have worked for companies in the past that continually check to make sure you don't have piercings, you don't have tattoos, you're not an individual, you're a number, you fit to their idea of what you should look like.
Some people has problems. For me, it's not problem. I'm a DJ, I'm a bartender. It's my unique look, and it's something attracts people. No.
I'm graphic designer, art director. No one fucking cares if I have a tattoo or not. It's just like, I think in a way sometimes people even expect that I have things like that. It's funny, in my old agency sometimes clients came and my boss was like, oh, clients are coming, dress up as a designer, so show your tattoo and stuff like this. So people expect it more. So it probably would be stranger if I don't have any. When I got a tattoo, it was not very common 20 years ago, and it was still kind of related to being in prison or being like on the bad side of the world. So it was more for like guys like my brother, for example. He has tattoos. He's like tattooed from the wrists up to the neck and down everywhere. And he was working in a business where you expect tattoos. So for him, it was no problem with my parents, for example, saying like, yeah, well, he's working there, so yeah, he can get the tattoos. When I came, I was like an ordinary girl from my parents, like wanting to study and having a career and everything. They came up with like, oh my God, like the question you asked before, does it influence the career? Back then, people thought that. Nowadays, I don't think so. It was different 20 years ago. I have been judged a lot, but I didn't care.
The job market, although is said to be non-bias, it actually is, in my experience. People do look down, people do, judge silently people with tattoos. And they mainly judge the images, they don't judge the person, they judge what it is that person has. And if that is personal to them as being offensive, then you haven't got a job. And it is difficult, very difficult. Before, people with tattoos were either sailors, prisoners, or reprobates, basically. Whereas now it's a lot more socially accepted by everybody, really. I'm in a constant battle with my own mother, actually, about it. She hates it. She even hates the fact I've grown a beard. So, yeah, she doesn't like it at all. Obviously, she'd never stop me from doing what I wanted to do, but she does make her opinion known every time I see her. She doesn't like it. But.
It's Foxy Mandy. That's me, my nickname, my storyline. The fox protects me and like did something.
Is a tattoo artist more artist or designer? It really depends on the person. I mean, the difference between an artist and a designer is like, as an artist, you want to express yourself. You have something in you. You want to show the world. either as in painting or writing or making movies or whatever. And as a designer, you're still a creative person, but in a way you're solving problems for other people. So you don't want to express yourself, and that's the difference. And you can probably have some tattoo artists who come up with like the most amazing designs and get it on your body, and then you can have like the designer part saying like, okay, look, these are the designs someone else made, but I'm very good technically. So I think you have both.
I see it as it's a connection between you and the artist that's doing it. I'm an artist myself, and I like art. I follow a lot of things, you know, and to me it's art, and I'm just the canvas, really. It's a different sort of art, but still art nonetheless.
I have one studio where I do my tattoos, except Australia. It was just my first tattoo, but in Riga, it's Riga Stinte. And there is the best tattoo artists in Latvia. And I trust them, I know them, they're a really good friend of mine, and I'm sure that they will do the best of it. Best of my idea. Like, even if person doesn't know what he wants, like something, and says color, I don't know, just few things, the artist can create the amazing thing. Like, he reads your mind and puts that on paper.
Fortunately, it's like I don't know. A lot of painters probably feel like their paintings are never finished, even though everybody else sees them as perfect. Same as the artist that's doing it, he'll always find a flaw with something. But to me, it's never finished. It's not going to be a stage where I'm like, right now I'm finished. It doesn't have a start or an end. It's just a continuation.
When I was younger, I never personally saw tattoos as a bad thing from growing up. I always loved them. I've always loved them. But you get people drilling it into your head as you're growing up. Oh, they're bad. They mean criminals or dodgy people, dangerous people. And as the TV shows started coming out and people were sort of seeing that it's not criminals and dodgy people getting tattooed, they started to kind of exposed it more for the art side. And it suddenly just became this huge, almost fashion. You start seeing athletes and footballers with sleeves and big tattoos and becoming inspiration for other people to get stuff like that. And it changed from being this really dangerous, thuggish look to almost fashionable, stylish, cool look. In literally a matter of like 5 years, it just suddenly changed like that. From an artist's point of view, my biggest inspiration comes from these incredible tattoo artists, first of all. Most of my inspiration for my artwork actually comes from video games, cartoons, stuff I grew up with. To make sure that you're going to be producing solid work that's no mistakes is getting an apprenticeship. A lot of people buy machines online, try to teach themselves, but you need to get an apprenticeship because that's where they really push you to be perfect. You can't make any mistakes, you can't risk making mistakes. Even artists here, they'll do some work and afterwards they'll think, you're never happy with it, you're never 100% happy with it, and I think that's a good thing because it means you're constantly learning. The day you're happy with what you've done and you don't think it needs any changes, that's the day you should stop. I see the future of tattooing going well, but it's really hard to predict. I don't think it's going to get worse. I don't think it's going to become underground again. I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where it's almost going to get too much. You're going to get people coming in wanting ridiculous things for ridiculously cheap. I mean, that's already happening. People are trying to haggle for prices and stuff on massive pieces rather than going there for the art. It doesn't matter how much it's costing, you're going there for the artist's work. There's always going to be stereotypes and people not agreeing to it as well as people agreeing to it. You just have to deal with that and learn to deal with it.